You know, we physicists often use an analogy. We're like fish in a pond. We swim around. We see other fish. We see worms falling from above. And we think that this is the entire universe. But we can't imagine the world that exists beyond the water's surface. A world where beings walk, breathe air, and drop those worms in for us. Our science, SETI, is an attempt to hear the splashes on the surface of our pond. We've set up enormous electronic ears, our radio telescopes, and we listen. We listen for the jungle drums of the cosmos. We operate on a simple assumption. If another intelligent civilization is out there, it will be noisy. It will use radio, just like us. But that's pure anthropocentrism. It's like expecting Leonardo da Vinci to communicate with a smartphone. What if Type 2 or Type 3 civilizations on the Kardashev scale long ago moved on to other methods of communication, completely unimaginable to us? Lasers, gravitational waves, or maybe they don't talk at all? What if their way of announcing their presence isn't to send a message, but to send a package? And now it seems a package has arrived, and it's addressed not to us, but to our neighbor. This is the story of an object that shatters all of our neat scientific classifications. Its name is 3I Atlas, and it is heading for Mars, ignoring the familiar laws of celestial mechanics. To understand just how incredible this is, let's rewind a few years. Physics loves to put things in boxes, to create categories. And for interstellar visitors, we had just 2 boxes. The first one was created in 2017 with the arrival of 1I Oumuamua. What a marvel that was. Long, dark, it moved with an acceleration we couldn't explain. Was it a rocket effect from evaporating ice? But we saw no gas. None at all. It was like a car driving with no exhaust fumes. Some serious scientists even suggested it could be an artificially made solar sail. We created a box for it labeled Very Strange Interstellar Object. And then, in 2019, 2I Borisov arrived, and scientists breathed a sigh of relief. It was a normal, boring, predictable comet, with a tail, a gassy coma, everything by the book. We put it in the second box. Normal interstellar object. And just like that, we had a tidy worldview. Visitors from other star systems were either strange rocks or normal comets. The universe was cozy and understandable again. We thought we had prepared for everything. We thought we knew what to expect. But the universe is a brilliant trickster. It always has something up its sleeve that doesn't fit into any of our boxes. And then comes 3I Atlas. Like many others, it was spotted by the automated sky survey system Atlas. Computers calculated its velocity and trajectory and immediately issued a verdict: a hyperbolic orbit. Let me explain. If you throw a stone, it will fall back to Earth. That's part of an ellipse. If you launch a rocket with enough speed, it will go into orbit. That's an ellipse. But this object was moving so fast that the sun's gravity couldn't capture it. Its path wasn't a closed curve. It was a one-way ticket through our solar system. It came from the depths of space and was supposed to return to them. That's what we thought. It was the third confirmed visitor from another world. It seemed almost routine. The event was certainly important, but no longer a sensation. We expected it to fall into one of our 2 known categories. It would either turn out to be another dark, inert rock, like Oumuamua, or, as it approached the sun, it would develop a coma and a tail, like Borisov. Astronomers all over the world pointed their instruments at it, waiting for confirmation. But weeks, then months, went by, and 3I Atlas did not behave as predicted. It was dark, incredibly dark, absorbing almost all the light that fell on it. And it was cold. Too cold. It showed no cometary activity at all, even after crossing the so-called frost line, the distance from the sun where ice should have begun to vaporize. No gas, no dust. Absolutely nothing. This was strange. Very strange. And so, a decision was made that changed everything. They decided to aim humanity's sharpest eye at it. The golden hexagonal gaze of the James Webb Space Telescope. This instrument is not just a telescope. It is a cryogenic time machine, capable of capturing the thermal whispers of the most ancient galaxies. Its sensitivity in the infrared spectrum is unparalleled. If anything at all was happening on the surface of 3I Atlas, the slightest outgassing, the minimal heating of one side compared to the other, the Webb would have seen it. And then the data arrived on Earth. Hours of observation converted into gigabytes of information. Webb's spectrometers analyzed the light reflected from the object, trying to find the chemical fingerprints of water, carbon dioxide, methane, all the things comets are made of. The result was stunning. Emptiness. The spectrum was almost perfectly flat. No traces of volatile substances. The object was completely inert. But that wasn't the most terrifying part. The most terrifying part came from the astrometrists, the scientists who measure the position and motion of celestial bodies with jewel-like precision. They took all the positional data on 3I Atlas, from the very first observations to the ultra-precise coordinates obtained by Webb, and fed them into a computer. The model was supposed to plot its future path based on one law, and one law only, the law of universal gravitation. The object's path should have been a perfect, smooth curve dictated by the gravity of the Sun, Jupiter, and the other planets. But the trajectory did not match. The deviation was microscopic, so tiny that any other telescope would have written it off as a measurement error. But not the Webb. Its precision proved that the deviation was real. It existed, and it had a statistical significance of 5 sigma. Let me explain what that means in the language of science. 5 sigma is the gold standard for a discovery. It's a probability of a random fluke equal to about 1 chance in 3.5 million. Imagine flipping a coin 21 times in a row and getting heads every single time. That is 5 sigma. This is the level of confidence with which physicists announce the discovery of the Higgs boson. It is not noise. It is not an error. It is a real, confirmed fact. The object 3I Atlas was changing its trajectory. Some force, other than gravity, was acting on it. And this is where we leave the territory of cozy, familiar astrophysics and enter something else entirely. What force could be doing this? The first thought, of course, is a rocket effect, like with Oumuamua, except that one was accelerating away from the sun, which could, with a stretch, be explained by an invisible outgassing. But 3I Atlas, it was braking. It was performing a maneuver that was reducing its velocity relative to the solar system, ever so slightly, as if someone were very sparingly using fuel, making microscopic course corrections over a long period of time. And most importantly, the goal of this deceleration became obvious when scientists plotted the new, corrected trajectory. It was no longer a curve flinging the object back out into interstellar space. No, the new trajectory had become a spiral leading to the orbit of Mars. It wasn't just passing by. It was closing in for a rendezvous. Imagine, for a moment, the silence in the control room when this data was laid on the table. Decades of searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, billions of dollars invested in radio telescopes, in listening to the void. And all this time, we were looking in the wrong place. We were waiting for a message, and instead we got a package with courier delivery right to our doorstep. So, here is the fact. An interstellar object of unknown nature, completely inert, a few hundred meters in size, is performing a non-gravitational maneuver to enter an orbit close to that of Mars. What on earth is it? Let's consider the hypotheses, from the most conservative to the ones that make your blood run cold. Hypothesis 1, the scientific, cautious one. We are dealing with a completely new, unknown type of natural object. Perhaps it's a fragment of frozen nitrogen or hydrogen, chipped off an exoplanet similar to Pluto. Such ice could sublimate very slowly and invisibly to Webb spectrometers, creating a faint but constant thrust. This explains the maneuver. And the trajectory to Mars is just a coincidence. A cosmic accident of incredible scale. The universe is vast, and the most incredible coincidences can happen in it. It sounds reasonable, but somehow too simple, too convenient. The probability of such a precise hit happening by pure chance, it's astronomically small, even for astronomy. Hypothesis 2, a bolder one. 3I Atlas is not a natural object, it's an artifact. An ancient, perhaps dead, probe moving according to a pre-programmed course. Its engines, maybe ion drives, maybe something we can't even imagine, fired millions of years ago in another star system, setting it on this incredibly precise course. It was meant to arrive in our system and break near the fourth planet. Why Mars? Perhaps billions of years ago, when this program was set, Mars was a living planet with an atmosphere and oceans, and the probe is just an exploratory vessel that arrived too late. It's carrying out its mission on autopilot, unaware that the world it was meant to study died long ago. It's a beautiful, tragic, and majestic picture. A time capsule carrying the will of a long-vanished civilization. But there is a third hypothesis, and this one is genuinely unsettling. What if the probe isn't dead? What if its engines are firing right now? These microscopic corrections are not residual momentum, but active, deliberate piloting in real time. What if its absolute inertness and coldness are not a sign of death, but a sign of stealth technology? Perfect camouflage. The object radiates no heat because its systems operate at cryogenic temperatures. It emits no gas because its engines are based on principles we have yet to discover. And the target is Mars. Not the Mars of the past, but the Mars of today. The planet on which all our colonization aspirations are currently focused. Our future second home. Our salvation in case of a catastrophe on Earth. Is this a mere coincidence? That at the precise historical moment when humanity is seriously preparing to take its first step beyond its cradle, a silent visitor from another star system is heading towards our future home? This raises questions that go far beyond astrophysics. These are questions of strategy, questions of survival. If it is a probe, what is its mission? Observation? Then why Mars and not Earth, which is teeming with signals and life? Perhaps it doesn't want to be noticed too early? Mars is a perfect vantage point for covertly observing the entire inner solar system. A quiet, convenient front row seat. But what if its purpose is not observation? What if it is a scout, the vanguard of something larger? It has arrived to assess the situation, to check if there is anyone here capable of offering competition. And our push for Mars is the very signal it was meant to detect. A signal that the local intelligent species is about to break free from its gravitational cradle. Or maybe it's even simpler and more frightening. Maybe it's not a scout, but a colonizer. A slumbering ark. Or even worse, a terraformer. A device whose task is to prepare Mars for its masters. And our plans for the planet are not part of its program. We always imagined contact as a dialogue. A radio signal, decryption, an exchange of knowledge. We thought in terms of communication. But what if the universe communicates not with words, but with actions? Not with radio waves, but with velocity vectors. And the arrival of 3I Atlas is not a greeting. It is a declaration of intent. The data from the James Webb is classified. Of course it is. No one wants to start a panic. The official story, which might eventually leak to the press, will stick to the first hypothesis. A unique natural phenomenon. An interesting anomaly. Nothing more. The world's governments cannot afford to admit that they have encountered something beyond their understanding and control. But in the silence of observatories, in the private chats of astrophysicists, in encrypted correspondence, a very different conversation is taking place, and it includes words that science usually avoids. Intent, purpose, threat. This dark, silent wanderer has shattered our most fundamental and comfortable illusion, the illusion that the cosmos is just physics, majestic, complex, sometimes dangerous, but ultimately impersonal, a set of laws that can be studied and predicted. 3I Atlas has shown that there might be another variable in the equation, a will. It will be at Mars in a few years. We have time to observe, time to send our own spacecraft to meet it, and time to think about our place in this vast, and as it turns out, not so empty universe. All of our history is a history of encountering the unknown. Every great leap in knowledge began with an anomaly, with an observation that didn't fit into the existing picture of the world. Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, Einstein, they were all people who dared to look at an anomaly and say, what if this isn't an error? What if this is a new law? Today, we stand on the threshold of perhaps the most profound paradigm shift in history. We have received an anomaly that calls into question not just the laws of planetary motion, but our very solitude, our very uniqueness. The silent visitor continues on its path. It does not shout. It does not transmit signals. It simply proceeds. And its silence is louder than any radio message we ever hope to receive. It tells us one simple thing. I am coming. And we can only watch and wait. What do you think? Which of the hypotheses seems most plausible to you? A freak of nature, a message from the past, or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments. I'm truly interested to know what you think about this. And subscribe to the channel. The journey to the frontiers of knowledge is just beginning. And it seems, this time, we will have to walk it together.